Racing to the Breeders' Cup and the Kentucky Derby 2020. It's the Grade 1 Champagne Stakes from beautiful Belmont Park, and an impressive 7-horse field has gathered for this Grade 1 stakes race. Let's start at the rail and the first crop of Leone's map. They have come out with some runners. We've already seen Basin win a stakes race, and now we have a horse by the name of Alpha 66. And this son of Liam's map picked up a victory in his maiden race, came from a little bit off the pace, and then kind of just wore down the leaders. But what was impressive about this win was he really had him measured. He kind of just was on the outside of a couple of horses that took off early. Then he slowly engaged the leaders near the turn. And really the entire stretch, it looked like he was going to win, but he never really poked his head in front till about 50 yards before the wire. Alpha 66, one of the top 3 contenders on this end for a victory in the Champagne Stakes. He's got the pedigree to go develop a little bit later, and he's got the pedigree that says he may just be able to get a little bit farther than the mile distance. Meanwhile, Liam's map, we live in a world where he sponsors the Breeders' Cup Classic, but he was afraid to run in the Breeders' Cup Classic. Go figure. Truculent is a Calumet Farm homebred and still winless. I'm not sure if they're actually going to run in this race. They have entered 0 for 2, and nothing really to recommend here. I do like the turf to dirt angle. Ran a mile on the turf the last time. Debuted at Indiana Park, showing some speed. I think this horse may have a little bit of a talent. I'm just not sure where he fits with some of the winners. Green Light Go, an impressive winner at Belmont this summer. Probably one of my top 2 favorite maiden special weight wins of the year. It was 8 rings at Del Mar, and then Green Light Go at Belmont. He followed that up with a nice win in the Saratoga Special. That was a grade 2. He beat Noose that day, who came back to run second to Dennis's Moment in the Iroquois Stakes. Meanwhile, Green Light Go was entered in the Hopeful Stakes, a grade 1 closing day at Saratoga, but they decided to wait, and the track came up sloppy that day, and now they hopefully get a fast track. The son of Hardspun out of Pleasantly Perfect. I like that speed on the sire's side, distance on the mare's side, and some class. So, he's shown speed in his debut race. That was at 5.5 furlongs. Then he came a little off the pace in his second win. So we'll see what he needs here. I don't think he's a need to lead type, and he is definitely going to be one of the top 2 betting favorites along with Gozilla. Meanwhile, 3 Technique. This horse is one of those low striding horses. Kind of a little bit of a funky stride in that won by 5 lengths in his 3rd lifetime start. He ran against Basin in his 2nd lifetime race, and then went up against a nice winner in his 1st race, Take Charge. So 3 Technique, a little bit more of a turfy pedigree here. Again, a little bit of a funky stride. I think we'll watch that as time goes by, but I think in this race he's well meant and definitely can make a case for him coming off the pace and liking the 1-turn mile, and the mile distance and the 1 turn should really fit him well as a late running sprinter. Meanwhile, Gozilla, he was a monster in his debut and then not so much in his 2nd race. Won by 4 lengths. The problem is with that maiden race, he had no competition. It was almost like he busted out of the gate by 3 lengths, opened up by 4, and never really got anything out of the race. Then was pressured a little bit in the slop in the Hopeful Stakes, was bet down to 6-5 that day. I think he's going to bounce back. The pedigree says he can go a little bit further than he did the last time, 7 furlongs. It's not going to be as pace contested at the beginning. So I think Gozilla is going to be my selection in this race. I think he's going to bounce back. I think he was maybe undertrained a little bit going into that 2nd race. And this is where we really find out if he can get a mile distance and maybe be a router. He looks like a sprinter. So right now I'm leaning towards him being more of a 1-turn horse, maybe a mile and the 16th. He's a classy horse. I don't think he's going to be a long-term Kentucky Derby type horse. We'll see. But he looks more like a sprinter right now, but I just don't think he was really trained that hard into his debut race. That was all speed and talent, and then we kind of had to put him in the pressure winder in the 2nd race, and he didn't really respond. So Gozilla is going to be my selection. And then you got Big City Bob, a Shanghai Bobby horse. Picked up a couple of wins at Monmouth. Moves up in class now. He's got to face some better horses going a longer distance. His speed figure was 87 in the Monmouth race. Kind of fits class-wise. We'll see what Big City Bob can offer here at Belmont. And then Tiz the Law, first crop of Constitution, won by 4 lengths. And Barkley Tag sends out a maiden special weight winner. You don't see that too often anymore, especially on the dirt. 6.5 furlongs. Got a 97 Brisnet speed figure. I think he's going to take a lot of money at the windows. Actually looking forward to seeing what Tiz the Law can do. Those Constitutions really seem to be coming out running. He was a son of Tappet, who won the Florida Derby and then kind of regressed after winning that race. So Constitution with a bunch of first crop winners, first out. My selection is going to be Gozilla. Who do you like? Leave a comment below who you like in the Champagne Stakes. I think 3 Technique and Green Light Go are also going to take a lot of money. Expect to see some speed from Truculent and Liam's Map with that interesting son, Alpha 66. I think he is one to keep an eye on long term. Remember, we've got previews of the Darley El Savide Stakes. We've got a recap of the American Pharoah Stakes from last week as we race you on to the Kentucky Derby 2020 and the Breeders' Cup 2019. Hit subscribe. Tell everybody to subscribe. Share the videos. We've got a preview, more previews coming up as we lead you up to the Breeders' Cup. But hit subscribe. The Grade 1 Champagne Stakes. My selection is Gozilla. Who do you like? Leave a comment below.